So one really interesting thing about the field of quantum computing is there's a lot of different companies with different approaches working on some of the very challenging and complex tasks that come with building a quantum computer. Some of the companies are building quantum computers with photonics, light-based processing, which we've recently covered on the channel. We also know that some quantum computers are being built as gate-based, and we know tech giants like Microsoft and IBM and Google and Amazon are all building their own quantum chips. And we know there's a lot of companies that are building quantum computers in their own way, like the annealing quantum computer from D-Wave, a company that has recently found a lot of commercial success as a quantum computer pure play in the market. So it begs the question, where is all this going? Hats off to Quantum Insider. They do a great job, but they have a new article called Quantum Computing Roadmaps, a look at the maps and predictions of major quantum players. Let's take a look at the roadmap for these. I pulled up some articles or pieces of the website that might help tell the story. I want to get us in and out of here, but let's take a look at some roadmaps and see where quantum is headed. Okay, I want to rewind the tape a little bit and let's go all the way back to January 6th, 2025, when the quantum frenzy started and the markets were roaring for quantum stocks. And then Jensen Huang famously said, and so if you kind of said 15 years for very useful quantum computers, that'd probably be on the early side. If you said 30, that's probably on the late side. But if you pick 20, I think a whole bunch of us would believe it. So that's kind of one of the foundational contexts of sort of this market explosion for quantum. And then after this comment, being that he's the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang, the stocks took a 50, 60% haircut. And some of them to this day still have not recovered fully, but some of them have already. And it's only been just a few short months. So that shows you how the educated and informed investor can continue to make decisions based on the information they're receiving, not a sentence or two from a CEO. That may be a well-respected and well-known CEO, but it's hard. We all have to be a little bit humble. We don't know everything about everything. Major quantum computer companies like IBM, Google, Microsoft, Rigetti. Also worth noting that companies are predicting transformative impacts in optimization, AI, and scientific simulations. But there are significant challenges that remain, including qubit stability, error correction, scalability, and integration with classical computing. So that's a nuanced part of this conversation and what keeps it interesting. So we have IBM, and I was exploring around on their website, and they have a couple different things. So they have their IBM roadmap, and then they have some pricing plans for quantum. So their quantum roadmap, they outline that they want to expand the utility of quantum computing in 2024. In 2025, extend algorithms for quantum computing. They want to, by the end of next year, demonstrate the first example of scientific advantage, quantum advantage in fault-tolerant module. And they want to, by the end of 2027, have 10,000 gates on 1,000 qubits. So you can see the numbers and their targets continue to go up as the years progress. Now, I was looking around IBM's website and I thought this was very interesting. So they offer access to their quantum computers. And did you know this? Because I didn't know this. You can access quantum computers for up to 10 minutes of runtime per month. So if any of you watching this, if you know how to use a quantum computer and you sign up for this and leave a comment on the channel, I will definitely mention it in a future video. If you run some sort of software or if you run an application or throw a problem at it, I would love to see if there's anyone in the community that has a creative use case for 10 minutes of runtime on IBM's free plan. I do love that IBM has this free tier because it removes that barrier to entry. So now let's take a look at Google. So Google has their quantum computing roadmap. So the Google Quantum AI head sees commercial quantum within 5 years. We have this article, the head of Google Quantum AI sees commercial quantum computing applications within 5 years as more quantum leaders place their bets on the quantum timeline. So one thing we've seen in 2025 that's pretty clear is that 15, 20, or 30 years that Jensen originally said, that's not what we're hearing from the other tech companies. That's not what we're hearing at all. This thing is moving a lot faster than that. So that's part of the story in the context. Google on their website lays out their quantum computing roadmap, and their focus is on error correction, now building a long-lived logical qubit, creating a logical gate, then scaling up, and then data centers. Big old quantum computers that are error corrected at scale. So Microsoft has their own quantum roadmap. 8 billion reasons to build a quantum computer. 8 billion people. I like that. I like the marketing. Microsoft has a pretty robust site with different milestones. And one thing that I like is that they list their milestones and the status of those milestones. So they've accomplished, according to their website, a milestone of creating and controlling their Majorana 1 chips and the Majorana 1 zero modes. This enables the breakthrough of a new qubit. They've also created a hardware protected qubit. Our protected qubit with built-in error correction extends our first breakthrough by changing qubit technology. So next up is they want a high quality hardware protected qubit. Then they want to build a multi-qubit system, resilient quantum system, and then finally quantum supercomputer. Now notice that Microsoft isn't giving any dates. They're not putting out a yearly calendar. And when they first announced their Majorana 1 chip, the CEO was pretty confident that they could scale it. So maybe Microsoft is being intentional in omitting dates while other companies are putting out years. We don't know that. And then just to kind of, again, this February article, it's still part of the story. We're telling a story here of a roadmap of these quantum companies. And so Bill Gates was saying essentially that practical quantum computers would be here within 5 years. So that timeline has shrunk by, if we look at 30 years and 5 years, that it's the outside of Jensen's comments to these comments from Google and Bill Gates. We've already shrunk 80% of that timeline. So I've said on this channel, it's been a month, 2 months. When we see such a acceleration of something, when it comes to technology, the safe assumption is acceleration will continue. Technology tends to accelerate much more quickly than people are comfortable with at times. The change happens before we know it. And then suddenly we're living in the world where that change has happened. So there's no reason logically, if we look at inventions like, let's compare the technological progress from the iPhone 1 to the iPhone 10. Massive difference in speed, battery life, screen resolution, any number of different aspects of that technology were improved so much in 10 years. Now, we have essentially 3 companies now that have timelines that are years, not decades, years. So let's look at Rigetti. So Rigetti is based out of California, and they are building quantum computers. They're one of the only publicly traded quantum computer companies. There's not that many of them actually. And they have some industry use cases. They're listing on their site, design and optimize drug-like molecules, aid drug discovery, develop synthetic enzymes, reduce fuel costs. They've launched their 84 qubit Anka 3 system. And this was, I believe, at the end of last year. So Rigetti said before on the conference calls, the CEO has been pretty clear in recent interviews that I've covered on the channel that they're in an R&D phase. And the most recent estimate we have from the CEO of Rigetti is 2 to 3 years for commercial applications. So take from that what you will. I couldn't find immediately on the website if they've exactly laid out their roadmap or plan. Perhaps I missed it. Feel free to leave the link in the comments if I did miss something. It is totally possible. All right, let's take a look at Pasqal. So Pasqal announces a new roadmap focused on business utility scaling beyond 1,000 qubits towards fault tolerance era. So in this article from Pasqal, they're pointing to 10,000 qubits in 2026 with scalable logical qubit architecture. So now we have this privately held company that has a very aggressive timeline. 2026 is within the next 18 months. So keep all these things in mind when you're thinking about this theme, because there is a lot happening all the time. So let's take a look at D-Wave. So I do remember when I was at the conference in Arizona, looks like they have here that they are laying out an aggressive hardware roadmap and pushing back against leaders in big tech that simply don't understand quantum computing and are spewing misinformation. So they already have a powerful machine, but they're pushing for larger systems. So they have the Advantage 2 system. So I was at the D-Wave conference not too long ago in Phoenix, Arizona. And when I was there, not only was I getting sun, but I was listening to D-Wave talk about its company. And one of the things that Dr. Barat said in the keynote is they're not just stopping at 5,000 qubits. They're moving to a next generation of their machine, a faster generation of their machine, and aggressively moving towards that. So IonQ Tempo is expected to be capable of commercial advantage for certain applications. Tempo is designed to have faster gate speeds, mid-circuit measurement, and 99.9% fidelity. Putting here target qubits, target uptime, and they have lots of buttons to inquire. So this technology is on the edge, on the cutting edge. Think of a kitchen knife, the edge of that knife. That's where we are with all of these quantum companies. And that's why you're seeing this theme just rapidly accelerate as these companies are accelerating towards products and they're having all kinds of different breakthroughs. So let's look at a company called Quantinuum. So Quantinuum accelerates the path to universally fully fault-tolerant quantum computing. They support Microsoft's AI and quantum-powered compute platform and the path to a quantum supercomputer. So this was from September 10th, 2024. So we know that Continuum just got a $1 billion investment from Qatar in their state-of-the-art quantum technologies and workforce development. So that was huge news for quantum, probably the most seismic news. And we're kind of getting these, kind of like an earthquake, right? Like you're getting the tremors, like a little bit of a tremor, and then we go months, a little bit of a tremor. Oh, quantum supremacy, tremor, right? And we go forward, and it's not too hard to see how a pattern starts emerging where not only are we getting more tremors, the amount of money we're seeing is growing, and we're starting to get the sense that there is serious momentum in the industry, not just in the US, but worldwide. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And remember, we started this video, and just a few months ago, NVIDIA's CEO was saying that it's 15 to 30 years away. That's something he said, okay? So now we're here May 17th in 2025, and we're about 4 months after that was said, and now we're talking about an entirely shifted landscape. We're talking about basically these quantum companies have all these different approaches and all these different ways of approaching their solution or their idea of what quantum is. And it's just who's gonna win, who's gonna have the first one, and then who's gonna have the next one, and then who's gonna have the next one. And you're gonna see this explosion happen. And who knows, Bill Gates could be right. It could be 5 years. What's gonna happen when D-Wave releases a more powerful quantum annealing computer than they already have? They're working on it right now. What's gonna happen when IonQ actually hits their target numbers, commercial advantage readiness, their rack quantum computer sitting in a data center? They have targets and they have a button about inquiring. So we have to be detectives a little bit, like when it comes to this stuff. And it's not going to be spelled out for you. When it happens, then it's already going to have happened. And a historian's job is a little bit easier, right? Because they can just say, well, this happened objectively, this happened, here's the news article. For us, we have to if we're interested in a topic and we're speculating about the future of the topic, then we have to make some educated or informed guesses on where the topic is going. So even Intel is doing quantum computing, and they have a Tunnel Falls silicon spin qubit chip. And Intel is one of the tech companies that you could criticize for maybe not changing with the times and being left behind. Well, it's good for them that they're working on a transformational technology, because Intel is still a trusted household name. It just isn't the massive giant it used to be. But if they have a breakthrough in their quantum, what a story it could be for their company. So think about the stakes on a commercial level as well. Like, these companies know what they're fighting for, what they're racing towards. So Amazon, also the same people that deliver you your clothes and your food or whatever you get on Amazon, your electronic devices, the same company that is probably running the internet that you're on right now, because Amazon Web Services owns something like, it's between 30-45% of all of internet traffic. That same company is also working on an Ocelot quantum chip. So now you're talking about a company that has the resources of Jeff Bezos, the CEO, and notoriously famous for spending lots of money on crazy things. And we have this company pursuing a quantum chip. And we heard their announcement in February 27th, and then we haven't heard much. So a lot of players have announced they are in the race, okay? So you have the big companies, big tech players. You have, in order, Google Willow, right? Then you have, I think Ocelot and Majorana 1 were around the same time, relatively close. And then you had the NVIDIA GTC, where even NVIDIA announced they're funding a Boston research laboratory to research quantum computing. And they have a connection to all of this, okay? NVIDIA has a lot to lose if quantum has a breakthrough that renders AI chips really pricey semiconductors, right? So the outcomes from the future of these companies, right, is there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot at stake for the US, for our safety. There's a lot at stake for anyone in the world to find this technology. It's really quite amazing, this period of history we are in, and I'm just enjoying watching it play out. If you're interested in watching this story unfold, definitely consider giving a like or subscribe. And for this, the roadmap for quantum companies, I think the final point I want to leave you all with is this conversation is accelerating. It's not decelerating, and tech seldom decelerates. Think of all the tech you've used in your whole life and how quickly it's got better. So all of this really paints the picture of a lot of companies working towards a goal of a commercial quantum computer, but they're doing it in different ways.